Okay, so in the previous video in the playlist, we have already seen the formulas for permutations and combinations. So these are just few examples of how to solve these problems. So these are very quick example and we will do it very fast. So let us find what is 8p7. So we know that npr is equal to factorial n divided by factorial n minus r, and this can also be written as n times n minus 1 times all the way to n minus r plus 1. That is, there will be total of r number of terms over here. So what is 8p7 going to be? 8p7 will be 8 factorial divided by 8 minus 7 factorial, which will be 1 factorial. So this is simply 8 factorial, and 8 factorial, if you do it, its 6 factorial is 720. So 8 factorial would be 720 times 56, because 8 times 7 is 56, right? So you can use the calculator to do it, but let us do it fast. 6 times 2 is 12, and 6 times 7 is 42, so this is 43. 5 times 2 is 10, and you have a carryover of 1. 5 times 7 is 35, so you have 36, and you add it, you get 2, 3, 10, 4, and you have 720, so this is 40320. So this answer is 40320, right? What will be the value of 25p5? This we know is going to be 25 factorial divided by 20 factorial. Now these are huge numbers, right? So instead of calculating factorials, it's easier to write it like this: 25 times 24 times 23 times 22 times 21, and we have to multiply this number and we have to get the answer. So you can use the calculator to get what the answer is going to be. 24c4, this we can write as 24 factorial divided by 24 minus 4, which is 20 factorial, divided by 4 factorial, and this will be 24 times, so there will be 4 terms, 24 times 23 times 22 times 21 divided by 1 times 2 times 3 times 4, and you use the calculator again to find what the answer is going to be. What is 19c14? Now for 19c14, we know that 14 is a large number, so we can write it as 19c14 should be equal to 19c19 minus 14. So 19 minus 14 is 5, and therefore this will be equal to 19 times 18 times 17 times 16 times 15 divided by 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5, and you use the calculator again to find what this number is. Okay, now let us look at a slightly more challenging problem. This problem is that if 2n combination 3 is to n combination 2 is equal to 44:3, find n. Okay, so like I told you, this is only slightly more challenging. So we know that 2n C3, how can we write it? We can write it 2n times 2n minus 1 times 2n minus 2 divided by 1 into 2 into 3, right? How can we write NC2? Similarly, we can write NC2 as n. How many terms will be there in the numerator? Only 2 terms, right? Because it is NC2. So it is n times n minus 1 divided by 1 times 2. And now we already know this ratio. So let us find what is this ratio. So this ratio should be equal to, you have 2n minus 1, 2n minus 2, 1 times 2 times 3 is 1 times 2 times 3. Now this is ratio, right? So this is divided by this term. So if this is divided, this will go into the numerator. So you can write it as multiplied by 1 times 2, and this term will go in the denominator. So this will be n divided by n minus 1, and this ratio has been already given to us. This is 44 over 3, right? And all now we have to do is simplify this thing. So we can see that this 2 can cancel from here, and this 3 can cancel from here, this n can cancel from here, and now see, this is n minus 1 and this is 2n minus 2. So if you take 2 common out, so this will be 2 times n minus 1. So what I am saying is that this term here is actually 2 times n minus 1, right? Because it is 2n minus 2. So it means that we can cancel this one with this, and you will be left with 2 over here. So now this is 2 times 2. So 2 times 2, and this is 44. So 4 times 11 is 44, and you get, finally you get 2n minus 1 is equal to 11, and therefore n should be equal to 12 divided by 2, which is going to be 6. Okay, now let us look at this problem. It says if NC12 is equal to NC8, find NC17 and 22CN. So all we have to do is find what is the value of n, and then we can find NC17 and 22CN. So for this formula, for this problem, remember that we showed that NCR is equal to NC n minus R. And now watch carefully here. It is given that NC8 is equal to NC12. So if R is equal to 8, it means n minus R. So what I am saying is that let's say that this is R. So what will this be? This will be n minus R, right? So n minus R is equal to 12. So we know that R is equal to 8, n minus R is equal to 12, or n minus 8 is equal to 12. So n is equal to 20, right? So we know that n is equal to 20. Once we know that n is equal to 20, rest of the problem is very simple. You have to find 20C17, which is actually equal to 20 minus 17, which is 20C3, and you can write this as 20 times 19 times 18, 3 terms in the numerator, divided by 1 times 2 times 3, and use your calculator to find this. Similarly 22c, 20 will be equal to 22c, 22 minus 20, which is 2, and this is just 22 times 21, 2 terms in the numerator divided by 1 into 2, and again use your calculator to find this. Okay, so this is a very similar problem. If 18CR is equal to 18CR plus 2, find RC5, right? So we already know that 18CR, this should actually be equal to 18C 18 minus R, right? NCR is equal to NC n minus R. So we know that 18 minus R is equal to R plus 2, because it is already given that this is also equal to 18C R plus 2. So we know that R plus 2 and 18 minus R should be equal. So we know that 18 minus R is equal to R plus 2, and from here we can solve that R will be equal to 8, right? Because 2R is equal to 16 and R is equal to 8. And what do we have to find? We have to find RC5, which is 8C5, which is same as 8 minus 5, which is 8C3, which is going to be 8 times 7 times 6, 3 terms in the numerator divided by 1 times 2 times 3. So this is 6 cancels, and you get 8 times 7 is 56. Okay, let us look at a slightly more interesting problem. It says that if 56 permutations of R plus 6 things taken at a time is to 54p R plus 3 is equal to 30,800 is to 1, find R. So for this problem, remember one very important relationship. We know that n factorial is equal to n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 times n minus 3 all the way to 2 times 1, right? So we can write n factorial as n times, what is this from n minus 1, n minus 2? This is simply n minus 1 factorial, right? So we can write n factorial as n times n minus 1 factorial, and we will use this result while solving this problem. So we know that 56p R plus 6, so we know what is NPR, okay? NPR is equal to factorial n divided by factorial n minus R. Just use this, so you know that 56p R plus 6 is equal to 56 factorial divided by 56 minus R minus 6, so it is 50 minus R divided by 50 minus R factorial. So we know 56p R plus 6. Similarly, let us find out what is the value of 54p R plus 3. So it is 54p R plus 3 is going to be 54 factorial divided by 54 minus R minus 3, which is 51 minus R factorial, right? And now we write this ratio and simply equate it to 30,800. So we know that this ratio is going to be 56 factorial divided by 50 minus r factorial from here, and now because this is divided by, so this will go into the numerator, so this is into 51 minus r factorial divided by 54 factorial. This should be equal to 30,800, right? Now what did I tell you? We can write 56 factorial as n times n minus 1 factorial. So we can write 56 factorial as 56 times 55 factorial, right? And we can write 55 factorial as 55 times 54 factorial, right? So the numerator here is 56 times 55 times 54 factorial, and we can now cancel this 54 factorial with this 54 factorial, right? So you are left with 56 times 55. So we know that 51 minus r factorial, which is this term over here, divided by 50 minus r factorial, which is this term over here, is equal to 30,800. Now we are bringing these terms from the numerator to the denominator on the other side. So this is divided by 56 divided by 55. Now 11 times 5 is 55, 11 times 2 is 22, so 11 times 8 is 88, 2800. Now this is 56, so this is 28 times 2 is 56, 28 times 100 is 2800, 5 times 2 is 10, and you will be left with 10. So we know that so far what we know is 51 minus r factorial divided by 50 minus r factorial is equal to 10. How to solve this? We again use this formula, right? We know that 51 minus r factorial can be written as 51 minus r times 51 minus r minus 1 factorial divided by 50 minus r factorial. Now watch carefully. 51 minus 1 is 50. So this term over here is actually 50 minus r factorial. So this term cancels this term, and we get that 51 minus r is equal to 10. So r is equal to 51 minus 10, 41, and that's it. And as a final problem in this video, let us consider this one. If 28 combination 2r is to 24 combination 2r minus 4 is equal to 225 is to 11, find r. Now this problem requires a lot of mathematical jugglery, but nonetheless the problem is still simple. So we will try to do each part separately. For example, let us find out what is 28 combination 2r. We know that NCR is n factorial divided by n minus r factorial divided by r factorial. So what will be the value of 28C to r? This will be equal to 28 factorial divided by 28 minus 2r factorial divided by 2r factorial, right? And what will be the value of 24C 2r minus 4? Simply use the formula again. So it will be 24 factorial divided by 24 minus 2r minus 4. So it will be 24 minus 2r minus 4 factorial divided by 2r minus 4 factorial. So this simplifies to 24 factorial divided by 24 minus 2r plus 4. So 24 plus 4 is 28. So this you see is simply 28 minus 2r factorial times 2r minus 4 factorial. Right, and now we are given the ratio of these two numbers. So let us put these numbers in ratio form. So 28 factorial, this is the first number, divided by 28 minus 2r factorial, 28 minus 2r factorial divided by 2r factorial times, this will be in the numerator. So you have 28 minus 2r factorial times 2r minus 4 factorial divided by 24. Okay, and this ratio is equal to 225 is to 11. Now we can see that 28 minus 2r factorial is simply cancelled from both numerator and denominator, right? Now 28 can be written as 28. So 28 can be written as, this can be written as 28 times 27 times 26 times 25 times 24 factorial, right? So we can cancel 24 factorial also. Similarly, this one 2r factorial can be written as 2r times 2r minus 1 times 2r minus 2 times 2r minus 3 times 2r minus 4 factorial, right? So now this 2r minus 4 factorial can be cancelled from here. So after all these simplifications, I suggest that you do it in the notebook by yourself also, if it is looking too confusing here. But if you do it by yourself, you will know what I am doing, right? So you will have finally 28 times 27 times 26 times 25 divided by 2r times 2r minus 1 times 2r minus 2 times 2r minus 3 into 220, sorry, this is equal to 225 divided by 11. And now if you see, actually this equation is going to be to the power 4th equation. So the correct way is to solve this to the power 4th equation, but we will not do this. We will simply use some mathematical trickery, and that actually simplifies our problem very, very much. We know that for example, we suppose we write what is 10c7. We know that it is going to be 10 times c times 3, and we also know that this is going to be 10 times 9 times 8, 3 terms in the numerator divided by 1 times 2 times 3, right? So we will use this, but before using that, let us simplify. So we know that this is 225 here, so we know that 25 times 9 is 225 and 9 times 3 is 27. So we have, finally what we have is 28 times 3 times 26. Now we bring this 11 over here, times 11 is equal to, we bring everything from this side, the denominator to the numerator. This is equal to 2r minus 1 times 2r minus 2 times 2r minus 3, right? Now let us write 28 as 2 times 14. Let us write 26 as 2 times 13, right? So we know that this expression we can write as 14, which is over here, times 13, which is over here. Now what is 3 times 2 times 2? It is 3 times 4. So 3 times 2 times 2 is equal to 12, and we have 11. And let us also divide this by 1 times 2 times 3 times 4. Now this should be equal to 2r times 2r minus 1 times 2r minus 2 times 2r minus 3 divided by, because we have divided the left hand side by 1 times 2 times 3 times 4, we have to divide right hand also 1 times 2 times 3 times 4. And now you can see that 2r must actually be equal to 14, or what I am saying is that this left hand expression is nothing but 14c4. The right hand expression is 2rc4. So this implies that 2r is equal to 14, and therefore r is equal to 7, which is much simpler way of solving this problem, because if you try to solve from this equation over here, you will have to multiply this thing and you will get to the power of 4th equation, and then you will have to factorize things and you will get one of the roots of that to the power 4th equation as 7. But if we simply write the equation in this symmetry so that we can express it as a combinatorics problem, we can solve this problem much easily. And I think this are enough number of problems in how to solve the permutation and combination operator. Go through this problem, and in the next videos we will do some more problems which are actually related to the application of permutations and combination techniques.